Bumble, what is the best thing about cricket? Number one, just one.
The thrill of playing, participating. You don't really know what's going to happen. It's unpredictable. I think the thrill, there's a danger element to cricket. It can be quite dangerous, and the thrill of when you're a batter, forget your teammates. There ain't no teammates when it's you and him. Him at the other end who's trying to knock your block off, and you're trying to score runs and stay in. So there's a thrill to that. I like the thrill. Cricket
has got a perception of being soft, but played by public school boys.
That is really interesting. There must have been a flip at some stage, because when I played, and I played for Lancashire, we didn't have any public school boys playing, let me tell you that. The lads from Liverpool, Manchester, St Helens, we got one from Yorkshire, Berrywood. We got Clive Lloyd, we got Farouk Engineer. There ain't no public school boys in that 11.
But you're not facing Jeff Thompson now. You haven't been playing for a long time, so the thrill is still there for you?
Oh, unmistakably. It's just, for instance, if I go to Old Trafford, and I've got to call it now Emirates Old Trafford, it's the smell of the place. It drags you in. You know, it's been a lifetime. It's been my life since I was 14 years of age. And just that thrill will never leave me. Going into Emirates Old Trafford, the anticipation, there's going to be a cricket match on here, and I used to be on it.
Did cricket save you from a reality or an existence that...
Do you remember a song by, you're far too young to remember a song by the Animals. Eric Burdon was a lead singer. We got to get out of this place. Well, I'm from Accrington, and it was tough. And cricket was my passport out. I knew I was good. I just knew I was good. And that drive and ambition pushed me forward. And I'm still involved in the game now. I'm still passionate about the game. The best thing is I still care about the game.
Why?
As to where it's going. And you've got to hold your breath. It's like a runaway train at the minute. It's cricket, and the way that franchise cricket is coming in, and where's Test cricket going to go? We will debate that. The advent of women's cricket. Why have they not played before? It's a nonsense that they haven't been playing to the level that they are now, and there's still a long way to go. And so there's a massive interest in cricket around the world, and particularly, I go to venues in the UK, and the grounds are packed, absolutely packed. T20, 100, Test matches, and so the vulnerability is county cricket, which, to me, and it's my opinion, that every cricketer, every one in England starts in county cricket. That's where you start.
Jarrod, you are someone who has always got something new on the go. I've known you for a long, long time. There's always something you want to tell me about, something new you've read, something new that you've done, a new piece of software, a new piece of editing kit, a new book that you've read, a new bit of cricket, a new sport, a new something. How is it you're still, even though your brain goes at 100 miles an hour for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, how is it that cricket is still interesting you? And what is it about it that you think is it about the sport that still, after all these decades, you will say 4, I will say 5, you're still just as interested in it as you ever have been?
I think cricket is unsolvable. And I think, I watch a lot of American sports, and football's another one. There are parts of those sports you could solve because the shape of the field, right? And where you're going to shoot your goals from, and where you're going to score in basketball, and how you hit the ball in baseball. It's solvable. We can look at all the science, and we can look at the data and bring everything in, but when it comes down to it on cricket, it's unsolvable. And the reason is it's played on blades of grass that we don't truly understand. How many times have you seen, someone who's played cricket for 50 years go out and do a pitch report, and everything they say is wrong? Everything they say is wrong. The BBC used to have a running joke with Ian Botham. Whatever Ian Botham said about the pitch, they would say the opposite, right? There's Ian Botham, one of the greatest players in the game. And because it's played on those grass, we still don't really know why the ball swings when the clouds come in, right? There are scientists who've tried to recreate this Bumble, and we still don't quite know exactly what that does. And the thing I love about the grass element of it is that cricket, when I started playing cricket, it was on concrete, right? And then we went to matting, and then we went to AstroTurf, and then we got to turf. In the space of one suburb in Melbourne, there are 4 different kinds of cricket that exist, right? And then one side you've got, sand-based pitches, and the other side you've got, red dirt and Merry Creek mud-based pitches, right? Then you go to Bangladesh, different wickets again. Western Australia, different wickets again. I love that we play a sport where you can go to Guyana, and it doesn't matter how fast this bowler is, he's not getting it above your knee, right? And then you go to Western Australia, and it doesn't matter if you're playing on the Wacker or the new ground per stadium, it's like every ball's at your throat, right? It's a completely different sport from location to location. And then we put different balls onto these different things. The SG ball does this, the pink ball does something else, the Dukes is like this. We have no idea what is going to happen from moment to moment. That isn't quite the same with other sports. Other sports, the excitement of other sports is that you can't predict what's going to happen in 30 seconds time, right? In cricket, it's that you can never predict anything because the ground doesn't do what you think it's doing. You get to the end of a T20 game and he says, start the car, right? And we're waiting for all the sixes to come in. The ball goes flat, all right? The slow balls start gripping in the surface. And it's like all the sixes that the commentators have been building. Oh, Heinrich Klaassen's got hit 5, and Heinrich Klaassen can't hit the ball off the square. The ball's dribbling off the toe of his bat. So I think it's an unsolvable game that naturally has different styles everywhere that you can't stop. Here's the most boring way I can tell you this, right? Left arm finger spinners, Ashley Giles, Paul Harris, right? Big, strong left arm finger spinners. They exist all through the west of cricket. And then you go to Asia and all the finger spinners are these little wiry guys who are about a foot shorter than them who toss the ball up. And that is because in India, you need to toss the ball up. You need to put the revolutions on it. And in England, you want to be a big, strong left arm finger spinner who no one can pull. And that's the difference. Everywhere you go, the way that cricket builds you because of the pitches, because of the balls, because of the overhead conditions, whatever that may be, are so different. So cricket is constantly unsolvable. So every time I think, I've worked this out, they're going to do, look at the wobble ball. No one's going to be able to play the wobble ball. And then 2 years later, everyone's like, well, what if we just move where we are on the crease? Well, now the wobble ball's struggling again. Everything keeps changing in cricket, and that's what I love.
What is the most frustrating thing with cricket?
I think the most frustrating thing with cricket is that no one runs cricket. Ben Stokes will come out and they'll say, someone's got to do something about this. And I'll be like, who does Ben think he's talking to?
Yes.
No one's in charge.
Yeah.
ICC's not in charge. The BCCI are mostly fighting with themselves. They're not in charge of the global game. You've got no one who actually makes decisions on how the game works. And the best case scenario is FIFA. So it's not perfect, right? But we're not even anywhere near that. And so no one makes any decisions that is in the best case scenario for cricket at any stage. When the ICC put on, we got 2 World Cups this year, right? We just had one 5 minutes ago. My plumber's a South African, Bumble. He comes to my house and he goes, you must be happy that you got past that World Cup. And I was like, I've got another one in 2 months. Right? I haven't even started preparing for it yet. And I said, then there's the women's one at the end of the year. If I do both of them, I've got 2 World Cups this year, right? No one is in charge of this. And the ICC's idea is we'll get more power by having more events. No cricket fan in the world actually knows when a World Cup is coming up anymore. How can we be in a position like that? When a football World Cup is coming up, there's like this build up for so long. And then it's now we have to wait for 4 more years. We have 2 World Cups in the space of like 6 months and no one even seems to care, right? It's so badly run as a sport that the reason that cricket is a great game is the fact that it is so successful 150 years after it started, despite the fact that no one with a brain has ever run it.
Is that always been the case?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I'm listening to all that and just nodding and thinking, absolutely right. And they're all, I mean, in this day and age, people are waking up, waiting to be offended. And it's exactly the same with who's running. I don't want to offend them. I don't want to, ruffle their feathers because they'll do this and come back at us. So there's nobody really in charge. But to get back to your question, is get on with the game. That's the players. I mean, it's like a funeral march at times. What are they doing? Bring me some gloves, bring me a drink, bring me some tablets, bring me a helmet, bring me another pair of gloves, and I'll have another drink. Stop that. Absolutely stop it. Give the umpire the power, which again you come back to, well, who's running them?
Exactly.
Because
how many pairs of gloves did you have for a season?
One.
And these days, you couldn't get through an innings of 20 balls without a second pair of gloves.
Bring me a pair of gloves. Bring me a towel. Bring me a tablet. Bring me a drink. Do you know what? I'll tell you what I would do. If I were in charge, and I have been, I would really push when at the end of the over and a batter bring me a drink. As captain of that fielding side, we'll all have one as well. And just bring all the drinks on. Every time a batter says, I'll have a drink, captain of the fielding side, we'll have one as well. Make it a complete farce. There'll be every over, well, they'll stop again. And so you're paying 120 quid for a ticket to watch the grass grow, to watch his grass, wherever you are in the world. Watch a blade of grass come up. Oh, they're having a drink now. We'll have a word with Charlie. Louise, let's have a chat. Where have you been? Have you been on your holidays? Have you been anywhere nice? Have you not been very well? There's no cricket, you might as well talk about something else.
Do you know, the perfect example of this is the 100, right? Where the 100's like, they go to the BBC and they go to the women's websites and they go, what's wrong with cricket? And everyone says it takes too long, right? And so we're like, we're going to take more cricket out. Why don't you actually work out with the product and how to make it quicker on the field? They could have even done something as simple as this. Okay, you want 120 balls, you have 60 balls from this end and 60 balls from this end, and you've got 20 seconds to get ready to bowl your next ball, right? Which they're now trying to do stuff like that. Make sure there is more cricket.
So have a time clock.
And less.
Have a time clock ticking away.
Yeah, all these things, right? Don't take an extra 20 balls out of the game. That's less cricket.
I've worked on the IPL, which is fantastic entertainment. Fabulous. Brilliant, brilliant competition. I'm still at the ground term, midnight. Midnight. What am I doing here?
I was at a CPL game and we finished at 1 a.m.
Oh.
It's like we had to get a plane at like 5 a.m. the next morning to go, like, how are we?
And it's still a great game. It's still a great game.
What makes you angry then?
Everything.
Go on, tell me.
About cricket?
Yeah, what is it? What gets you, not even shouting at the TV screen, because it's not always something that happens during a game. It's a press release that just lands, or a change to the regulations, or a new tournament, or whatever it is. Is there something that makes you angry?
I think that we are still in a game where exclusion is the main part of it.
Exclusion of?
Well, so we decided in 1908 or whenever it was that 3 teams were going to be able to play test match cricket and no one else was. And we keep allowing one team in every 20 odd years, or a couple of teams in, in 1929 or whatever it may be. And it's like, everyone should be allowed to play test cricket. As cricket fans, we should be able to say, these are the ones we care about and these are the ones we don't care about. Once you start a game that is set up like, let's be honest, a private men's club from London rather than an actual sport, it means that it doesn't grow at the same rate that it should grow, right? And it should be a worldwide sport played by everyone, and instead it was shielded off. And so Argentina, who once drew a series with the MCC, they just disappear and no one cares. Kenya make a World Cup semi-final, they disappear and no one cares. If you start a sport from an exclusionary point of view and you don't open it up and you don't allow everyone to play it, you end up with only a few countries loving it. And look at the passion that cricket has from a few countries. We know what it could do. What could it do in China and Brazil? You go to Papua New Guinea, there's a village. Half the Papua New Guinea cricketers come from like one little village town, right? No one loves cricket more than that area does, right? Why can't we promote that around the world? And we haven't. Cricket has been set up the opposite way. Oh, you have to be a full member and you have to... No, you don't. You've got 11 people who want to put the badge on and go out and face the fast bowling. They deserve to be international cricketers.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.